All right, let's get it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bullpen. We have a raw story exclusive investigative report. In the studio, we have Jordan Green, investigative reporter, Raw Story. And there's a revelation that a lawmaker who gave January 6th terrorist attackers a Capitol tour targets ex-Capitol Police intel head. Here it is. Dear brother, thank you for coming on the show. Tell us what your investigation revealed.
Dr. Richey, thanks so much for having me. So yes, Representative Barry Loudermilk, Republican of Georgia, he chairs a House Administration Oversight Subcommittee that is basically doing a revisionist January 6th set of hearings, and he is calling Julie Farnham, the former intelligence head at U.S. Capitol Police, to testify behind closed doors. So, the upshot of this is this subcommittee chaired by Representative Loudermilk is seeking to deflect blame from Trump in the run-up to the presidential election, and really setting up Julie Farnham as a fall guy. And she gave a really stark warning about the intelligence about threats of violence before January 6th. Now, as you mentioned, Representative Loudermilk gave a tour of the House complex tunnels on the day before January 6th. One of those people who took the tour was on the Capitol grounds the next day with a sharpened flagpole talking about coming to get Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and drag her out by the hairs.
The irony of this. So now he's in charge of the committee investigating. He brings on a person who actually does try to protect people. This man literally led a tour with terrorists to make sure that they knew exactly how to, avoid capture if necessary. And one of the individuals quickly revealed himself to be violent and criminal and aggressive and just not somebody you want to give a tour to. But he's using this dynamic to deflect from the reality not only of Trump, but himself. Talk to us about the irony of this, dear brother, because there got to be some other folks on the committee saying this is insane.
It is ironic because Representative Loudermilk was asked to testify before the January 6th committee and refused to appear. Now he's subpoenaing witnesses for his own committee. Julie Farnham has essentially said, he's calling me to testify to deflect and distract from his own culpability.
And in a real, authentic way, she's in charge also of the protection of members of Congress, like Mr. Loudermilk.
Yes, that's a great point. We're talking about the mechanisms by which the physical safety of members of Congress is preserved so that they can do the work of democracy. And this committee is basically calling that into question. And she as the former intelligence head is becoming kind of a political pawn.
Let me read a quote. So Farnham told Raw Story, I don't buy his excuse for why. Quote, members of Congress very rarely give tours themselves. That was odd that he was giving a tour. And it's less likely that a member would give a tour to people that they don't know. The day that he gave the tour, there weren't any tours being given. What was he doing and why was he doing it? Damn, those are great points. Because I've worked for Congressman Hank Johnson, who's still in the US Congress, remarkable person, a great mentor of mine. There are tours that are set up on particular days. Guess what? The members of Congress don't give the tour. They may give a little speech before or after, but they don't give the tour. She made some really great points because now, if you weren't suspicious prior to her contextualization, you're damn sure suspicious now, understanding that he violated the normative culture of tour giving.
Right, I don't understand it as well as you do, but from what she told me, there were COVID restrictions. So on January 5th, members of the public were not allowed to come into the Capitol. So these constituents were getting a tour of the tunnels underneath the House complex, and they were filming the tunnels and watching him go through the security checkpoint into the tunnel to go to the Capitol.
I remember when we first got the video of this and we reported on Indisputable about it, I said, this looks like an intelligence gathering mission because of how they were coordinated in picture taking, and obviously conversations looked as if some of them were literally texting or writing something in order to have memory points. Why do you need those elements for places that are not, let's just say, frequented? How did he know them? Because she's right. Usually, if you decide to actually give a tour of, private, secret places like that, you know the people. How does he know them?
How does he know the people who gave the tour to?
Yes.
I know at least one of the individuals was from Georgia, so presumably they are constituents. I don't know how he knew them, so I don't want to project too much into his thinking because he hasn't fully explained it, although he defended himself in his own committee report.
And I think that's the telling part right there, because he doesn't describe the nature of the relationship. He doesn't say, this was a church that sent an email to my executive assistant and they wanted to coordinate this tour. And so we did so because I was at the Capitol that day. And I said, you know what? I'm a man of the people. So I'm going to give this tour. The fact that he has no explanation for how he knows these terrorists, the fact he has no explanation tells me he has an explanation he doesn't want you to know about. That's just me. I'm an opinion guy. I get to say opinions here. So the reality is this. She's now basically being pulled out. She's the scapegoat, or there's an attempt here. How do you think this works out at the end?
I mean, it appears that she's basically trying to preempt their subpoena by going public with it. And, they're calling her to do a closed door subpoena. It's unclear to her whether it will ever be public. And she's concerned that her words will be twisted for whatever agenda. I mean, it is notable she hasn't received the subpoena yet. And she told me a couple days ago that her attorney got an email from the Deputy General Counsel for the Republican majority saying, we'll be in touch about the subpoena. So they may decide to stall or push it back because she's telling her story publicly.
Yep. Smart woman, by the way. All right. So, dear brother, for those who are watching, they would like to read this amazing investigative piece that will have your mind boggling. How can they do so?
It's at rawstory.com.
Jordan Green, thank you for all you do, man. You're great at your job.
Thank you, Dr. Richey. Take care.
You too.